What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you'll see a Patreon account. If you click it, you can become a member. All you got to do is try to recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. So click the link. Now, with that being said, we're here today to review Scream 6, the 2023 sequel to the movie that came out last year or 2 years ago, something like that. It's brought to you by the exact same team and mostly has the same cast, except for a couple of new faces and also the reoccurring character Kirby, Detective Kirby from I'm assuming Scream 4, I guess. Right. So this installment finds the characters running around the city of New York trying to avoid Ghostface and find themselves yet in another game of cat and mouse with the freaking long ghost-faced killer. And basically it's the same kind of plot line. You have a killer killing people, you have to figure out, you have to stop them and then also figure out who it is doing the killings. And you have, and then us as the audience, we got to try to figure out the twist before we get to the end. Now, when I did the trailer reaction, the first thing I said is they're going to have to do something different with this movie, right? In order to keep this movie interesting, they have to do something interesting. They have to do something different. They got to like spice it up. They got to like go out of the formula in order to make this franchise live on longer, right? The last movie was okay. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But at the same time, is the last movie a great movie? Not necessarily. It was fun. It was okay. But when you look at it for story purposes, it's not the greatest thing. It's something you'll probably watch one and done, right? But moving on, we have the sequel now. We're seeing the continuation of the characters with Tara and her sister. And how her sister struggles with being the daughter of freaking Billy Loomis, right? But again, that's neither here nor there. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of this film. One, do not waste your money on seeing this movie in 3D. There's absolutely zero 3D effects in this movie other than one thing. One scene out of this whole damn movie is 3D. Do not waste your money on seeing this movie in 3D. Watch it in standard definition. You'll thank me later. That's just a disclaimer, just for you guys thinking about shelling out the extra money. It was honestly a waste of time. A waste of money for me after seeing it. The only reason I even paid for it is because it was wrapped up in a little fan event. So I was like, all right, cool. Seeing a Scream movie in 3D, that sounds pretty interesting. So let's go with the pros. Pros. Every time Ghostface hits the scene, it's amazing. It's freaking hands down the dopest shit ever, right? Ghostface is super brutal in this movie. I love this character in this movie. Ghostface was going in, right? That's the best part. Another good part is, what is it, Sam, Tara's sister. She did okay with this movie. She was a little less annoying than she was in the previous film, which was okay. And it seems like she was embracing who the fuck she is a little bit more. And Jenna Ortega's character Tara, like, she just, to me, she kind of took a back seat in this movie, and it was kind of strange seeing that Jenna Ortega's become like this big movie star, and she's become really popular, especially with Wednesday. You would think she would have a little bit more of a speaking role. You think she would be more of a pivotal character. You think she would kind of like step it up a little bit or step more into the limelight. But that wasn't really the case. She kind of just was off to the side. She was kind of like a side character. And I mean, that's okay. I have no real big like problems with it. But it just threw me for a loop. I thought her character would kind of step it up a little bit and be a little bit more of a central focus. But it didn't bother me too much. Now, we do have reoccurring characters from the first movie, which are what's that fool's name? The black brother and sister, the supposed twins. Those two characters are in this movie. And I find myself being kind of annoyed by them. Like, every other character in this movie to me kind of came off as really annoying. They came off as really immature. They came off as really unlikable. And this is exactly what I was talking about with this franchise when I said you have to do something different in order to keep it interesting, in order to keep it kind of spicy. You have to do something different, and none of these characters did anything different. They were the same fucking unlikable characters from the previous movie, and honestly in this movie they're even more unlikable because it's like we're with them more now. We've been watching these same characters for over 2 movies, and they have done nothing to grow as characters. They've been the same stupid fucking characters, and I'm watching it, I'm just like, okay, like, I'm tired of this. I cannot see another movie with this lineup. This lineup isn't really appealing to me. it's not really, I don't think it's going to appeal well to audiences. And I'm not like a legacy cast person. Like I didn't get bothered by the fact that they're trying to move on and go a different direction. I'm okay with that. The problem with me is that the lineup isn't interesting. The lineup of characters are just not interesting. They don't appeal to me. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, what are we doing here? Like this this movie is starting to become a little bit too repetitive. It's like Saw, when you're watching the Saw franchise. Eventually, once you get past, part 2 or 3, you start to be like, okay, like this is starting to become a little bit too repetitive. I've seen this thing a little bit too much. It's not catching my interest anymore. Kind of like Final Destination, same shit, right? But here's the thing. The opening of the movie starts off very interesting. And it introduces this idea at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, yo, if they go with this, that's ballsy as hell. I would like that because it's something different. You're going away from the atypical storyline. You're going away from the basic formula that you've created with the Scream franchise. You're going away from that. And you're kind of coming up with something new. So I'm like, okay, if you go this route, I'm in. Let's see what we're doing here. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, like, nah, it's not what you think. Anyway, back to back to your regular scheduled programming, right? And then we go back into the atypical storyline, and then I get bored. This movie's runtime is about 2 hours. It doesn't need to be 2 hours at all. That runtime could have been significantly shorter. Significantly shorter. I'm going to emphasize that. You have a whole lot of talking for no reasons. You have a whole lot of dialogue for no reasons. You have a lot of shit you could have cut out. You got a lot of scenes of people doing nothing. And it's just the 2 hour runtime was not needed at all. Also, we just met Skeet Aldrich a month ago, right? Why the fuck y'all de-aging him and he looks older than what he does in real life? That doesn't make any sense to me. The man de-aged in the movie looks older than he does in real life. Like, you could have just slapped some makeup on him or something, hit him with a freaking Instagram filter. I'm pretty sure he would have looked somewhat close to what he did in the 2000s. But what they did to him in this movie, that shit looked crazy. Like, he looked like he had plastic surgery. My man over there got that Madonna facelift in this movie. That shit does not look appealing at all. It looks weird. So I think that they probably should either tone it down with the de-aging or try to figure something out, because it doesn't look appealing. It looks really weird, and it don't look shit like Billy did in 2001. I'd rather have fucking Billy looking the way he looks now. Just, hey, go ahead and do that shit, girl. Like old man Billy, do something. Because that shit, what they doing right now, it don't look good at all whatsoever. Carrying on. You can't do nothing more with this movie at all. The fucking storyline is fucking toast. It's done. It is no more that you could do with this movie. The plot is just fucking dumb. Like, once you get to the end of the movie, right, you get hit with the big reveal. Just like the last film, the big reveal in the last one was really fucking stupid. The reveal in this movie was even dumber than that movie. And I didn't like the reveal in the other movie. The reveal in this movie was really fucking stupid, though. Really stupid. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, are we really going this route? Like, this is just really becoming just too repetitive all over again. It just feels like you're watching the same movies over and over and over again, and you're wasting Ghostface's character. I don't like the fact that this franchise really feels like it's just stagnant. It's going absolutely nowhere. This movie had me bored at times. Like, it legitimately had me bored. The only saving grace in this movie is Ghostface. Like, every time Ghostface is on the scene, he kills it. Like, no pun intended. He literally kills it. Super interesting kills this movie. Movie's super gory. But outside of that, like, the movie don't got much going for it. So here on the Cinema Chop Shop, with great movies in 3 ways, count them 3 ways, either get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell. And I tell you, your movie's basura, homie. Or I give it a big fat meh, says Massimino's mediocre, mid-grade, mid. Or I say you're spared, and I say, stop what you're doing, drop everything, go watch this movie, buy the first ticket you could get. I'm going to have to give this movie a big fat meh.
Not quite my tempo.
Not impressed.
But it can be better.
Mediocre!
Meh. But the TV gave me the impression that...
We said meh.
M-E-H. Meh.
Yeah, you heard it, folks. I'm going to give this movie a meh. I mean, the only saving grace in this movie, honestly, is Ghostface and the kills. And it was really cool seeing some of the replicas and things from the old movies. You know, it was real cool going down memory lane. But then again, when you get to the end, it's just so stupid. It's so dumb. There's things that are even done in the end of the movie that are just like, what are you talking about? Like, you have scenes in the end of the movie where, like, logically, there's somebody dying and you sitting there having a pep talk. What the fuck? You sitting there, you got a gun and you're running at somebody. What is you doing? This movie at times does not make sense at all whatsoever. And I get it. It's a slasher movie. But at the same time, this is 2023. I am not going to forgive these dumbass slasher antics. We can't keep using that as an excuse. It's a slasher. It's okay. Da 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 da. Whatever. I'm not going to use that fucking excuse anymore. You can use the slasher excuse for other things, but the thing is, Scream has always been an intellectual property. It's always been a property where it had you to think at least a little bit because it was a whodunit, right? This never was a dumbed down movie where it was just a gut slash. It doesn't matter who the hell it is at the end. Oh my God, it's the janitor that was sitting here the whole time. It's not one of them movies. It's really a movie that makes you think. You got to critically analyze all the characters that are around. It's really smart. It's very self-aware. So don't act stupid or don't treat this franchise like it's a dumb franchise. Put some respect on it and put this franchise to bed because I can't see this shit carrying on. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you're having a magnificent day. And adios, homies.